Welcome back to WION World is One. Thank you so much for staying with us. Here's a look at what we've lined up for you on Speed News today. Let's get started. Israel's political security cabinet has approved a plan to take control of Gaza city despite growing criticism over the almost 2-year-old war. Netanyahu stated Israel intends to maintain military control over the Gaza Strip, prompting Hamas to call his comments a blatant coup against negotiations. The plan, of course, still needs approval from Israel's full cabinet. That being said, multiple explosions were seen and heard in Gaza early Friday morning as Israel's political security cabinet announced Gaza city takeover plan. Cambodia's Prime Minister says he nominated Donald Trump for Nobel Peace Prize, crediting the US president with visionary and innovative diplomacy that ended border clashes with Thailand. Hun Mane's letter to Norwegian Nobel Committee highlights Trump's commitment to advancing world peace. And of course, as you know, this isn't his first nomination. Pakistan and Israel have also nominated him for the award, citing his diplomatic efforts. US President Donald Trump commemorated National Purple Heart Day with dozens of military veterans at the White House on Thursday. The commemoration honors America's oldest military medal, which has been awarded for valor to soldiers wounded or killed in combat and was established by George Washington in 1782. Trump paid tribute to recent recipients, including Army Specialist Kevin Jensen, who was injured when his Humvee was hit by a roadside bomb in Afghanistan, and who rescued his commander, Captain Sam Brown, during the incident. Brown also received a Purple Heart. Trump also thanked 3 service members who gave him their Purple Hearts following assassination attempt on Trump in Butler, Pennsylvania in 2024. The United States has doubled its bounty to $50 million for information leading to the arrest of Venezuelan President Nicolas Maduro, who faces federal drug trafficking charges. Maduro is accused of leading a cocaine trafficking gang and working with other cartels, with the U.S. seizing 30 tons of cocaine linked to him. Maduro's government has called the bounty pathetic and ridiculous, while the U.S. doesn't recognize his past election victories and considers him a threat to national security. Hundreds of protesters marched in Quito to protest 3 economic emergency laws approved by Ecuador's National Assembly. Promoted by President Daniel Noboa, critics argue the laws infringe on labor, social and human rights, granting excessive power to executive and restricting fundamental rights like protests and union organizing. Despite the Constitutional Court provisionally suspending several articles, demonstrators demanded the entire legislation be overturned amid growing discontent over Noboa's economic policies and recent job losses. Discontent intensified since July, when Noboa reduced the number of ministries from 20 to 14 and dismissed 5,000 employees under an efficiency plan. Two Japanese warships, the JSISC and JS Suzunami, docked in Wellington, New Zealand's capital, marking the first visit in nearly 90 years. The ships were crewed by over 500 sailors, were accompanied by the New Zealand Navy ships Canterbury, and are part of Japan's efforts to strengthen strategic ties in the South Pacific. The move comes amid regional tensions, with Japan seeking to deepen military cooperation with New Zealand and Australia. India is set to operationalize 2 new consulates at Kazan and Yekaterinburg in Russia in the ongoing 2025-26 financial year. This was informed by the Parliamentary Standing Committee on External Affairs, who said in a report submitted on Thursday, the move is part of a broader push to expand India's diplomatic footprint in Europe and Latin America, Caribbean region. The Ministry of External Affairs informed the parliamentary panel that 5 new missions have received approval in these regions. India's Jammu and Kashmir administration, led by Lieutenant Governor Manoj Sinha, has banned 25 books, including works by renowned authors like Arundhati Roy and Islamic scholar Maulana Abul Ala Maududi, citing concerns over secessionist ideologies and threats to national integrity. Following the ban, Jammu and Kashmir police have begun conducting raids on bookshops across various districts including Srinagar, Ganderbal, Anantnag, Kulgam, Pulwama, Shopian, Baramulla to seize and prevent the circulation of banned secessionist literature. The Gujarat High Court on Thursday extended till the 21st of August the temporary bail plea of the self-styled godman Asaram. The division bench of Justice Ilesh Vora and PM Raval extended Asaram's temporary bail till the 21st of August on medical grounds after observing that he was in an ICU at a private hospital and his health condition was critical. Azerbaijan and ExxonMobil signed an energy deal in Washington, D.C. The deal was signed by ExxonMobil Vice President John Ardil and Azerbaijan Minister of Economy Mikhail Jabarov in the presence of Azerbaijan President Ilham Aliyev and U.S. Special Envoy Steve Witkoff. This agreement comes ahead of a historic peace summit at the White House, where U.S. President Donald Trump will host leaders of Azerbaijan and Armenia for an official peace signing ceremony to end their decades-long conflict. In a tragic incident in Kenya, a small plane carrying medical staff crashed in a densely populated neighborhood near the capital city of Nairobi, killing 6 people. It was heading to Hargeisa, Somalia, before it came crashing down. According to the Kenya Civil Aviation Authority, the plane lost contact with air traffic control after just 3 minutes of takeoff from Wilson Airport in Nairobi. Authorities have launched an investigation into the plane crash. Pacific nation Solomon Islands has said that it would exclude non-member nations from a key regional summit in September, a group that includes China, Taiwan and the United States. Prime Minister Jeremiah Manele said earlier this week that he would defer a meeting of the Pacific Island Forum's non-member dialogue partners. Manele's decision heads off a brewing diplomatic squabble over the presence of Taiwanese diplomats at this year's forum in Solomon Islands' capital. Solomon Islands recognized Taiwan until 2019 when it switched allegiance to China. Taiwan and other dialogue partners have historically been allowed to meet with Pacific Island nations on sidelines of the forum, known as PIF. The official death toll in Uttarakhand's Uttarkashi has risen to 5 after flash floods hit the Dharali region on the 5th of August. Rescue operations in the flash floods ravaged Uttarkashi have entered day 4. The army said 70 people have been rescued so far and more than 50 are missing. Around 190 people have been rescued from the Dharali town. Efforts have been stepped up to airlift advanced equipment to the worst-hit Dharali village to speed up the search for those trapped under the rubble. A wildfire erupted Thursday in Turkiye's northern province of Karabük, just over a week after northern major blaze in the region was brought under control. Turkiye's Forestry Directorate says 2 firefighting planes, 12 helicopters and hundreds of personnel were deployed to tackle the flames. Smoke was seen billowing from the hills as the fire spread rapidly towards nearby homes. Locals joined firefighters in trying to contain the blaze as trees were quickly engulfed. Turkey has experienced hundreds of wildfires this summer, driven by extreme heat, dry conditions and strong winds. While hot, dry summers are typically for the Mediterranean, experts warn that intensifying heat waves linked to climate change are making wildfires more frequent and more destructive. France's largest wildfire in decades contained Thursday after scorching more than 160 square kilometers in the southern region and claiming 1 life. The blaze erupted on Tuesday, fueled by hot, dry weather, rapidly spreading through the mountains and forcing over 200 villagers to evacuate. Cooler temperatures, calmer winds overnight helped firefighters gain control, though many roads remain blocked and residents cannot yet return home. The fire damaged at least 36 homes and injured 13 people, including firefighters. Zhengzhou, the capital of China's Henan province, raised its flood control alert to level 3 Thursday afternoon as torrential rain caused severe urban flooding. Between 8 a.m. and 2 p.m. local time, some areas saw up to 187 millimeters of rain, with multiple stations reporting heavy downpours. The city's flood control headquarters activated emergency measures at 1 p.m., suspending all production business, schools and outdoor activities. In Jinshui district, floodwaters reached over 65 centimeters, prompting firefighters to rescue stranded residents, while pumps worked around the clock. Major waterways hit critical levels with depths of up to 3.25 meters. Flooding also disrupted transportation, forcing a full closure of the Ring Expressway and suspending several metro lines. An intense heat wave in northeastern Syria has pushed temperatures near 50 degrees Celsius, putting severe strain on animals in zoos and poultry farms in Kamshili. Zoo caretakers are using clay-roofed rooms and frequent water sprays to keep animals cool, with some species like ostriches needing constant cooling. The extreme heat has also kept many visitors away. Meanwhile, Kamshili faces a worsening water crisis, with pumping nearly halted in many areas, compounding hardships for residents during the relentless heat wave. The dollar was under pressure and is on course for a weekly fall as US President Donald Trump's temporary choice for a fill-in Federal Reserve governor stoked expectations of a dovish pick to replace Chair Jerome Powell when his term ends. Sterling hovered near a 2-week high and clung to Thursday's sharp gains as Bank of England cut interest rates, but only after a narrow 5-4 vote. Experts say that it shows the central bank's easing bias lacked conviction. The dollar is down nearly 0.7% on the week so far, as concerns over shifting U.S. economic momentum, especially in the labor market, boosted hopes of Fed rate cuts. Oil prices were little changed in early Asian hours but were headed for their steepest weekly losses since late June. Investors expressed concern over the impact to the global economy from tariffs that kicked into effect on Thursday. Brent crude futures trade around $66 a barrel and are on track to decline more than 4% week on week. US oil trades around $63 a barrel and is set to fall more than 5% on a weekly basis. At Thursday's close, US oil futures had dropped for 6 consecutive sessions, matching a declining streak last recorded in December 2023. If prices settle lower today, it will be the longest streak since August 2021. Now gold rose to an over 2-week high, buoyed by safe haven demand after US President Donald Trump's tariffs went into effect and US jobs data added to rate cut expectations. Gold is used as a store of value during economic and geopolitical uncertainty, but also tends to thrive in low interest rate environment in the US. Ongoing trade tensions and heightened geopolitical tensions continue to underpin the market with safe haven interests. All other precious metals, including silver, platinum and palladium, track gains in gold. Japanese shares surged on Friday after positive earnings reports and expectations the US would remove overlapping tariffs on the country's goods, while shares were down in other Asian markets after a late retreat on Wall Street. The rally for Japanese stocks follows a mixed bag of earnings reports for the country's biggest exporters, as some companies like Toyota slashed their profit forecast, while Honda said the impact would be less than feared. Japanese household spending data that the Bank of Japan is monitoring to determine the timing of its next rate hike rose at a slower than anticipated 1.3%, which also supported markets. As the effective date of recent US trade duties arrived, Tokyo's trade negotiator said the US government promised it would fine-tune some of its overlapping tariffs on Japanese goods to avoid the duties being paid on some products twice. Eddie Palmieri, the pioneering Latin jazz pianist and composer, has died at the age of 88. Fania Records announced his death, which came after an extended illness. Palmieri was an innovative artist who won 8 Grammy Awards through his career, becoming the first Latino to ever win one in 1975. For latest news, download the WION app and subscribe to our YouTube channel.